So, Tego, I talked to a potential seller about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they said that they were thinking about doing a for sale by owner and that they were going to go into their Facebook or something and they were going to optimize and put their house for sale there. So, that's great, but they're missing out on hundreds of other websites where people look for homes for sale, right?
Well, and it's all the most popular websites. Again, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Homes.com. Those are the big four.
Help, I need some guidance. Help, selling and buying. Help, I need some real estate. Help.
Welcome to the Albuquerque Real Estate Pod, episode 524, end of February 2025. And we are talking about Albuquerque real estate like we always do, Tracy. We are Tego and Tracy Venturi. We are with the Venturi Realty Group, working with Real Broker here in New Mexico. We have a great group of realtors who work with us, providing exceptional service. If you're buying or selling residential real estate, we're here to work for you, give you 5-star service, and take really good care of you. If you got any questions about real estate for yourself, for a friend, buying or selling, whatever you want, we're here to help. We're at 505-448-8888. And Tracy, this week we have Community of the Week. You always bring us some really good information about different communities around Albuquerque. We've got some, I've got my market update minute where I cover what's going on in real estate so you can be up to speed on what's going on. And we've got an interesting news story that came out this week we're going to go over. And we want to talk about a home of the week and, of course, always a question that came up this week related to real estate. All right. Didn't do much teasing there. I just kind of gave the headline. So, Tracy, it's spring in New Mexico. It's been a beautiful week.
You know, Tego, we've talked for years on this podcast about when the spring selling season really heats up for home buyers. And we say, well, it's usually sometime in March. Spring break happens, kids are out of school, it starts getting warm out. Well, we've been warm and we have seen the real estate market popping, right? A lot of buyers have been out looking for homes, searching for homes. So if you're thinking of selling, you might want to move up your timeline. But typically, mid-March is when the market really gets hot. But we're feeling it sooner since we've had this beautiful spring weather.
Well, I've got some stats to back that up. And so it's interesting because you always kind of get the anecdotal feel of what's going on based on, all the people on our team and what they're doing in selling, talking to buyers and sellers. And of course, I'm just looking at numbers, but they kind of coincide. Tracy, where should we start today?
I would really love to know more about this story that I saw on Zillow. So Zillow Research did a deep dive, and Tego, you and I know that Zillow has a huge research team, and the data they put out is very deep because they have a lot of data, right?
Yeah, some of the best for sure on residential real estate in the United States. Yeah.
So the story on their research is off-MLS home sellers left more than $1 billion on the table in the past 2 years. And what that means is what they're saying is the typical home seller who did not put their home for sale through the multiple listing service sold their home for nearly $5,000 less than had it been in the multiple listing service. So give us the details.
Well, I'm a huge advocate for the multiple listing system.
Right.
It is a marketplace of homes for sale in the United States. It's actually very unique to the United States. A lot of other countries are envious of our MLS system because what it does, it allows sellers to put their home on this system that then is able to go out and touch all other realtors that might have a buyer, as well as it ends up going out to all these syndication websites like a Zillow, like Realtor.com, like Homes.com, all these big national sites, as well as here in Albuquerque, like thousands.
Okay, let's get to it. Come on. I want to know the details.
Well, I just think it's important to
MLS.
That what the MLS does and why it's a big deal, because there's a big debate in our industry right now about off-MLS sellers and should not. Anyway, that's kind of the backstory on this. So anyway.
And I know you're past president of the MLS twice, so you do know it really well.
Yeah. So why? Fewer home buyers means less competition. Meaning if you don't use a system like the MLS where you have multiple, really hundreds, thousands of buyers being able to view that the property is available for sale, I mean, it's simple, supply and demand, so you're just not going to have the exposure. You're not going to have competition for your home if you don't use the MLS system.
So, Tego, I talked to a potential seller about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they said that they were thinking about doing a for sale by owner and that they were going to go into their Facebook or something and they were going to optimize and put their house for sale there. So that's great, but they're missing out on hundreds of other websites where people look for homes for sale, right?
Well, and it's all the most popular websites. Again, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Homes.com. Those are the big four in the country. And, everybody looking for homes is going to be on those sites looking for homes. Now, there are ways to have your property listed in the MLS just by paying what we call a limited service listing, where you pay a broker to just kind of put it in there, but then you're still on your own.
Yeah, you don't have any advice or guidance on all the documents and forms and ins and outs. So, Tego.
Wait, I do want to say something. I think this is important. Why would somebody want to sell their home off of the multiple listing service?
Well, that's where I was just going to go.
Good.
So what I was going to say is what we know of looking at homes that have sold for sale by owner or even with limited listing, where they just paid to have it in the MLS, is we see that the homes, the seller mentality is they're listing the house for a better price because they feel like they're not paying commission to a listing broker. And so that $5,000 to me, where Zillow's research says they've left at least $5,000 on the table by not going through the multiple listing service, my gut tells me they're leaving more on the table, that they're selling their house for even less because they've already said, well, we're not paying a listing broker so we can get our house to sell for a better price.
So this is a little more just kind of deep dive into how real estate works. There is something called office exclusive listings. These are properties where we list it, but we can only talk to other brokers or agents within our office. And again, you're limiting it. Here in Albuquerque, there's about 4,400 realtors in our MLS. If you're limiting it to an office, even one of the large offices in town, it's still just hundreds of realtors versus thousands that get to know that property is available. So that's part of it. But there are situations where you might want to do it. It could be about your timing. It could be about your place in life. We have somebody we've worked with where they need to sell. They need to have money in their pocket in 3 weeks, right? And that's kind of unrealistic in a traditional sale because you can't even get a loan done in 3 weeks.
Yes, you can.
You can, but it's tight.
Well,
and that's assuming you find a buyer immediately.
So part of the complexity for that particular person is we might find a buyer quickly, but then we still need to go through inspections, repair requests, all the appraisals, if there's a loan. And even if there's not a loan, inspections and repairs can be a glitch. And what we know is about 30% of the houses that go under contract
fall through.
Yeah. So if you really need to know you have money in the bank by a certain date, sometimes it's risky.
So I wanted to, Sam, I forgot to have you pull this up. Pull up the screen there, and we'll just share the story. So just last thing on that, there are situations where you may want to do it. So privacy. There's a lot of situations, especially people that maybe are well known, they do want the privacy. They have certain reasons they don't want to have it exposed publicly. And I get that. And that's where an office exclusive would be one way to deal with that. But like we said, it could be convenience, it could be timing, it could be a estate situation where somebody just has to liquidate the home immediately. And that would be more something like what Open Door offers, right? That we can help people with, where they will bring a cash buyer. There's another thing out there that I want to actually more give a warning on is there's also what we call a wholesale market in real estate. These are people that make cash offers of homes off the house or off the market, or their websites where they say, we'll give you cash for your house. And I don't want to go into it too much, but I would just say, reach out to us if you're getting an offer like that, and we can give you free advice. Just make sure you're getting a fair offer on your property. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, let's move on to something light and fluffy.
Okay?
That was like heavy, right?
I don't think so.
So our home
Hey,
of the week.
we just saved sellers money. By now they know that.
You're right. Let's talk about the home of the week.
Okay.
So we have a house in Corrales that went on the market, and it's sort of a special property. It's 145 Leal Lane, Leal, Leal Lane. Corrales is listed for $835,000. It's a large home with 3 bedrooms. It has a loft, but most of the home is on a main floor. And then it has a 2-bedroom casita that's detached, 2-bedroom casita. And my favorite feature, ready for it? A heated chicken coop. So it's like true Corrales
Does
living.
that mean year-round eggs then? Will they lay
Well,
year-round if it's...
They'll lay year round if they have light. It's not the heated part. It's that you have to have lights on at night. They need so many hours of light every day to be laying. Otherwise, they go dormant until the daylight's longer. So yes, you can have them lay year round. I know there's an egg shortage. And this house actually is conveying the chickens with the property.
Whoa, okay, that's a big deal right there.
Some of them are
in February of 2025.
Yeah, some of the chickens are done being layers. They're a little old, but they do get plenty of eggs on the daily. So, the thing about the chicken coop, we've had chickens and I loved our chickens and they all had names. These chickens all have names. And the thing that's interesting is what we didn't have, Tego. The chicken coop can be remote controlled to open and close, because if you have chickens, you have to close them up at night, right, for the predators. And this particular coop has a very big fenced area with wire on the top too, so predators can't get in. But they actually have a door to their coop that opens and closes.
It's really funny. You spent more time talking about the chicken coop than the house.
So anyway,
but it's pretty.
It's a really nice property if you're looking for Corrales.
It's a Corrales thing.
It's a rural
yeah.
Corrales property. So if you're interested in that, you know how to reach us. Give us a ring at the 448-8888 here in the 505, and we can connect and figure out a time for you to see it. Okay, I know you probably like the hot tub, Tego. I see you scrolling through.
Well, yeah. So if you're on YouTube, you can see the photos. I'm scrolling through them here of the home, but you can Google it too, 145 Leal Lane, and then just give us a shout if you have interest. You want to take a private tour.
So Tego, must be time for the market of the minute.
Let's
update.
do it.
Let's do it. I know.
Okay, just bear with me. Okay, and two things. One. I've been doing this, but I haven't been doing on the podcast. But I want to do this is just tell you what I'm seeing this week in Albuquerque real estate. What's going on, and just grab out a few stats because they really tell the full story of where we are in the market cycle.
And when you say Albuquerque real estate, you mean Albuquerque metro area.
Correct. And
not just Albuquerque.
Thank you. Good. And I know it. I use that term interchangeably, but when I say Albuquerque, I mean the entire 4-county metropolitan area. Yep. So first off, interest rates, we actually have seen the lowest mortgage rates since December now. So they've dropped here since December. They had gone up, but we're under 7%. So mortgage rates are actually going in the right direction. Still, high historically, recent historically, of course, not back to the 80s. That's a different conversation. One thing we've seen, the number of homes for sale is up 48% from a year ago, same week. So if you're a buyer, there's a lot more homes out there. And what I've seen is more homes being listed in February than we've seen in a few years. So more people are putting their homes on the market. Maybe, some more people thinking about, selling and buying, because most sellers are buyers. So maybe some little more activity. We know the last few years have been the slowest we've seen in a while. But prices, pending prices, I love this statistic because it tells me not what things sold for. It's not looking in the past, it's looking in the future. Pending prices right now are about 5 to 6% higher than a year ago. So that tells me over the next, 30, 60 days, that's kind of what we're going to see for appreciation in the market. And one of the things that kind of a unique stat of the week is how many price decreases we had this week. And this week was unusually high. About 40% of all the homes that are on the market, that are active on the market, have had a price reduction.
That is high.
So it's not totally crazy, but normally this time of year it might be 30%. Usually we see 40% later in the year, in the fall. We usually don't see it in the spring. So it may be, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate why, but I thought it was an interesting thing to look at. And then the last thing I want to talk about, kind of more big picture, is the Zillow Home Value Index and the Zillow Home Value Forecast just came out. And for the last year, home values, this is for all the homes, not just the homes that sold, up about 3.6%. And for their forecast, which would be January of 25 to January of 26, they're projecting Albuquerque to see a 3% home price appreciation. Pretty moderate. I will say over the last few years, Zillow's been a little bit moderate, a little bit low on their forecast. They've come in a little bit higher than what they were saying. The one thing that jumped out on their home value forecast is of the top 100 real estate markets in the country, Albuquerque market area is in the top 10 of all the larger markets, the top 100 markets. So that's my market update. There's some other stats that come out that I'm always tracking, and if you follow me on Facebook or on X, but Facebook's probably the best place to follow me. It's Tego Venturi, and I'm always doing different markets hits on what's going on with real estate in Albuquerque.
And always good to subscribe on
yes.
YouTube.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
there is that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, Tego, so I know, back to light and fluffy with me. So I was out showing homes the last couple days to some people that are moving here from out of state. And what a great opportunity these folks came across. We were able to get them a new construction home in Rio Rancho, kind of central Rio Rancho, for $339,990. Brand new construction, highly energy efficient, really beautiful, granite counters and stainless appliances. And the builder was having a special incentive. So they got washer, dryer, fridge, and blinds in the house, and garage door opener that has the remote. So it's a whole smart system where they can lock and unlock the house and open the garage door and things from their phone. And because of the incentives the builder's offering, they were also able to have $10,000 in flex cash that they are able to use to do a rate buy down. So this 30-year fixed rate they got, because they're a VA buyer, is 4.99% for the life of the loan. Not just a temporary buy down, but for the life of the loan. And the flex cash that they chose is going to give them, the first year interest rate is 2.99%. The second year, the interest rate is 3.99%, and then the rest of the 28 years is 4.99%. So these folks just bought a house for about $50,000 more than to get the same payment of what they wanted their payment to be. They were able to buy the new construction that was $50,000 more than their budget because of those interest rates, and they're getting a brand new house, energy efficient. They are so excited. I'm over the moon for them. So,
And remind me, these were first-time home buyers?
first time, and there's a great
that's so
story.
exciting. Yeah.
Well, what was really special is I'm trying not to divulge too much about
you
them.
don't want to do that. But yeah.
One of them has never lived in an owned property before. Her whole life, she's been in an apartment with parents growing up, and is in an apartment now, 1 bedroom. And it's she was in tears, going to be a homeowner, and nobody in her family legacy has been a homeowner. And she's young. This is not somebody, she's maybe mid-20s at the most. And what a special thing to be a part of that. That's part of the best thing we do as realtors, right? Helping people change their trajectory, because this house that they're getting for just under $340,000 has previously sold many times for $379,900. So she's walking into like $40,000 in equity over all the people that already paid almost $380,000 for their house. So anyway, it's just fun. It was so much fun. Saturday was like the best because we looked at houses Friday and then Saturday, and then went back and bought new construction. It was awesome.
Well, that's a great story, and yeah, that's so satisfying. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Tracy.
but if you think you might be interested in new construction, we work with all the builders here. There are homes done right now, ready to be moved into. They're actually going to be closing in 3 weeks on this house with a loan through the lender. But you can literally, we have new home builders where they have the lots and you can pick your floor plan. You can go to the design studio and pick your carpet and your tile and your counters and your paint colors, or one that's already done or one that's almost done, and you pick it and you know what it looks like. So we can help you with that. We can figure out how to make all the different incentives work best for you and your situation.
Yeah, that's great, because that flex cash could be down payment assistance. It can't be down payment assistance, but it could be buy down your mortgage rate. It could be some closing costs, stuff like that, right?
It could be you wanted to get appliances, blinds, garage door openers, the things that we got them to throw in, right?
Got it. Yeah,
So.
that's awesome, Tracy. Okay, home of the week, or not home of the week, neighborhood. Neighborhood, community. Let's call it community in this case for sure.
Yeah. So a lot of times in the past episodes, we've featured very small neighborhoods. We featured Tanawan and Four Hills and Cabazon and other neighborhoods, right? This week, we're going to feature the community of Bosque Farms.
So I've got it pulled up on the map here. I've just got Google Maps up so people can see kind of the lay of the land. We're looking at the greater Albuquerque area from Bernalillo all the way down to Las Cruces. So Bosque Farms is
just below Isleta Pueblo.
Yep. I'm gonna zoom in.
It's the first thing you come to as you go south on I-25 or south on 47 from Isleta, the back road down to Bosque Farms. And Bosque Farms is one of those communities I just love when I get to show homes there, Tego. As you know, I love my favorite.
Is that only because Tractor Supply is there?
I was just going to say my Tractor Supply is there.
Of course, there's one down the street in the North Valley here now,
I
too.
know, there is now. But, in my heart, when I go to Bosque Farms, I always want to walk through Tractor Supply. But, Bosque Farms is one of those communities where if you can find the right property for you, snatch it up, right? It's rural, yet it's urban. It's 20 minutes to UNM or downtown.
Airport.
The airport, probably even less, just depending on where you're at in Bosque Farms. But a few years ago, I sold a property. It had a really beautiful 2-story kind of Midwest farmhouse with a big barn and a lot of pasture. It was 7 acres and lush and green with flood irrigation. And I saw like recently there's one very similar to that on the market. But in general, there's a lot of half-acre lots with nice ranch homes. And it's a good community. They have a strong community spirit. They have various community events in the village, such as rodeos, holiday parades, farmers markets, and, featuring a very close-knit community. Outdoor recreation, right? They're along the Rio Grande River, so you can engage in activities like horseback riding on the ditches or hiking or bird watching, biking. Those types of things are definitely available. Or you could stop by Sopa's, one of the much-loved restaurants in Bosque Farms. They have New Mexican food. Sorry, I'm already hungry. And American food. But don't try to go on Mondays because they're closed on Mondays. But it's one of those, kind of family-owned local restaurants where you go in and people know each other. So
I pulled up their website on our YouTube here if you want to see it. I got to say, they got a great website, the Village of Bosque Farms.
They do.
Yeah, for sure.
That's more stuff than I even knew about, Tego, when I look at all the different tennis courts and different things. But they have a lot of specialty shops, too, besides Tractor Supply. There's other feed stores, boutiques, just a wide range of things for people. And so they have, some community service things too. They have a public library. They have a community center. They have a volunteer fire department. those types of things really create a hub for the community. I remember when I sold a house to between I-25 and 47, and it was a half-acre property, and they were close to the library and the community center, and I didn't even know it was there until they pointed it out. It was awesome. So anyway, that's Bosque Farms. A lot of people choose Bosque Farms that work in Albuquerque on the Air Force Base, Kirtland Air Force Base, with the research labs, different, things affiliated with the base, as well as the hospitals, UNM, downtown. But I do know people that commute even further. And
just like so many communities, they do have a Wikipedia page for Bosque Farms, New Mexico, and you can get a little history there too. Real estate wise, I know you kind of hit on it quick, but kind of like more ranch or, this rural thing. But what kind of real estate and prices in that area?
so generally, things starting in the 300 range for those ranch houses, going up over $1 million. It depends on the size of the land and if it's flood irrigated and how new and how big the house is. But, there's kind of a broad mix. Not a lot of multifamily, though. Mostly single family type properties.
Larger lots.
Larger lots.
Yep. A lot of green.
Yep. For somebody that wants to have chickens, it's the perfect place.
Yeah. No, well, it's fun. I mean, we were talking about Corrales earlier, and you think about Corrales,
the valley,
some North
South
Valley areas, South Valley, Bosque Farms,
even Las Lunas,
Yeah, I mean, you get that rural feel, which is nice, but yet we're close to the big city of Albuquerque.
Right.
Yeah.
And the whole Rio Grande River corridor. It's hard to say Rio Grande River because doesn't Rio mean river? It's like river,
redundant.
big river or something.
River, big river, yeah.
But it's different from people who say, I want to be in the East Mountains on larger parcels, because those don't tend to be flood irrigated. They're more, woodsy or flat, or, the plains out in Estancia. Yeah, you can get larger parcels there too, but it's different than being along the river corridor.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. So,
all right. Last question, or last thing this week. And again, if you want to reach out to us, we're the Venturi Group of Real Broker, 505-448-8888. We appreciate you tuning in. But I've got a question. And this is a pretty common question, but right now, I think this is a big one on home sellers' mind is now the right time to sell your Albuquerque home? Yeah. And I'll tell you my take. It's ready when it's time to sell when you're ready to sell. Right. And like I said earlier, most people selling are also buying, so you have to make sure you've got that lined out as well, be it here or be it somewhere else. But I will tell you this, I did a deep dive into this last year on what is the optimum time, of year to put your home on the market to get the most for the money, right? And I've beaten this up a lot, as
our listeners know. We talk about it occasionally.
But it's right now, right? And so really it's like, if the time is right, then, now early spring would be the best time to get going for that. I've got a pro tip too, and you know this, Tracy, because we use this strategy all the time.
Let me see. Is there a best day of the week when you should put your house on the market?
There is. And it's interesting because there's been a lot of research on this. But the best day of the week is Thursday. And why do we do that? And what's our strategy on that, Tracy?
Well, the research says we should do it, first of all, but I think there's something about most people still have weekends, right? A lot of the population still works Monday through Friday. So you put it on Thursday, it gives people a little bit of time. We can get it out there, get some of the marketing out there, let buyers know that the house is available. And then we typically do a grand opening on the weekend, right? Where we have an open house. We call it the grand opening, and we advertise it for a few days, and we get a lot of people through right at the very beginning of that. And if we put it on the market on Thursday, it gives people time to plan their weekend to come and see that house.
Yeah, most of the real estate websites, or, around the country, and of course that's where most people find their home that they end up buying, is Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon in particular, is when they get a surge in traffic where people are checking in.
Right,
You know,
right. We want to make sure your property is out there on Friday when people start thinking about what houses do I want to see this weekend, right?
One more pro tip while we're at it. Something people don't know is if you're a home seller and you haven't bought a house in a while, you may not realize that all of these different websites, all of these different homes for sale search systems have a automatic, what we call drip or basically notification every time a new home comes on the market. So again, you want to make sure when they're getting that notification, that's, when it comes on the market,
You want it
hits
perfect.
their radar. Thursday, Friday is perfect. Monday, people usually are either, done thinking about home shopping. So yeah, again, Thursday, Fridays are the best.
But the pro tip is when you hit the market, make sure your property is perfect and it's presented right, because when it hits somebody's inbox or they get to a website and they find it, you don't want it to say photos coming soon, because
Oh
they're
my
not
gosh.
going to get back to
That
find
is
that again. And
that
we
is
see
a
that.
critical
It's a faux pas.
faux pas. Yeah, I think that was at least 3 pro tips in there.
Yeah.
At least
yeah.
3. Yeah.
Okay. Always fun.
Yes.
Nice to talk real estate like we do every morning, Tego, over coffee, you and I. So
exactly.
nice to do it
Exactly.
on our podcast.
You want to just, again, tell people about our team and how to get a hold of us?
Sure. So we've got a team of realtors. We all work together. We have realtors who specialize in working with sellers, realtors who work mostly with buyers, and some of those cross over and do both. We've got people that have been with us for many, many years. Really great team. You can check us out on Zillow, all of our 5-star testimonials, on all the other websites where you get rated, Google, whatever. We've got a great group, and we can help you with your real estate needs or just your questions. Sometimes it's just, I need a lawyer to help transfer property, and we can help you with that.
Yeah,
So
we're
give
here to
us a
help.
ring, 448-8888.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. We appreciate you. And please click subscribe. We'll keep you updated on what's going on with real estate in the Albuquerque area and New Mexico, and of course, across the entire country. Have a great one.